and hit record. And I want to say welcome to everybody. I'm excited to do this presentation tonight because the Phi U history has always been so interesting to me. And so I was excited for the opportunity to put this together. It's going to be a fun mishmash of different topics here and there about Phi U history. So we are going to start. This is an interactive experience for everyone. And so I have a Kahoot quiz that's ready. For those of you who have never used Kahoot, I'll go into that in a minute. But first, I wanted to talk about using Zoom as well. If any of you are unfamiliar to Zoom and how it works, there are a few things. I'm going to share my screen and see if I can. Well, I don't know if I can do that or not. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't show what I want it to. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. So when you're looking at your screen, depending on which view you want, in the upper right corner, and it may also depend on which version of Zoom you have, but there's a little button that says view. And mine right now has a little 9 little squares. And you can click on the view button and change the view. So you can see everybody all at once. You can also see the speaker view. So right now I hit speaker view. I can see whoever's currently speaking big on the bottom, and then everybody else kind of at the top. You can arrow to see some of the other participants if you want, if people have their videos on. It's fun to see who's here if you want to have your video on, but please don't feel obligated if that makes you feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to put mine back into gallery view so I can see everyone. Another thing to note is down at the bottom, there is a reactions area that you can choose. Mine looks like a little emoji smiley face. There's a plus sign next to it. But if you click on that, it gives you options. You can raise your hand if you have a question. Cindy Jones has just done the thumbs up. You can do some different emoticons to say, Martha, everybody, I see some clapping hands. And so that is another option for a way to participate and, communicate silently. There is the chat function down at the bottom. If you notice, mine says a 7 right now because I haven't clicked on it yet to see. But Melissa is going to be managing the chat for us tonight. And so if you would be willing to put your name and information on that, the chat will be recorded and saved. That's one of the nice things Zoom will do for us so that we can have documentation of who is here. So the chat's down there if you don't feel comfortable asking a question using your voice. The chat's really nice for that function. So as far as that goes, that's pretty much kind of the basics of Zoom if you haven't used it before. And so we'll be using that to share the presentation as we go. But as I said, first, we'll have an opportunity to participate in a trivia. And so some of you may have done this before, or a version of it, possibly at some conclaves in the past. But what I'm going to do is now share my screen and get into my, if my screen will move out of the way. My Zoom controls are being helpful, blocking what I need. Let me see. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. I use Zoom all the time, so you'd think that I would be ready for this.
Never know about that technology.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
So Jennifer, do you know how to minimize the screen that you want? Just make it a little bit smaller so it'll be underneath your Zoom tools.
That's what
I have to do that for Photoshop.
Oh, and I think what I need to do is move, because my Zoom controls are at the very top.
Yeah.
I think I need to move those out of the way. So
yeah, or make your application a little smaller and just leave those up there.
Okay, let me make sure I've done that, because I started my presentation as maybe the way to make it easier, but there we go. Okay, and now I need to move all of us out of the way so that I can see. And so you can tell I'm looking over to the right. I kind of mentioned this earlier. I have two screens that I'm managing, so I hope it's not too distracting that sometimes I'm looking over here, but it helps so that I can see everybody at the same time. So, okay. Chapter Chat series number 3, Founders Day. Again, I'm really excited for this. The first thing we're going to do is the Kahoot quiz. So if you've never used Kahoot before, you can use a web browser to do this, and you don't have to participate. This is just if you would like to. But there are prizes for the winners at the end, and we'll get to see the first, second, third place winners. If you use Kahoot a lot and you have the app, or if you want to download it on a tablet or smartphone, you can do that. But if you just type kahoot.it into a browser, it'll bring up the page, and then I'm going to go into my Kahoot quiz so that I can start that. And then we'll get more directions about what I moved it over here, what we're going to do next. So okay, now I'm going to come back and share my screen again. Okay, so if you have come to the kahoot.it screen, it's going to ask you for a game pin. And it's this number right here, this 1501312. If you enter that in for the pin by either going to kahoot.it or using the Kahoot app, that'll take you in. And so you can see right now it's waiting for players. When you enter that in, it'll say to enter your name, the screen name you want to use. Keep in mind, everyone will be able to see. I don't expect this here, but I always mention if you don't want, if there's a name everyone knows you by, that's great. But just keep in mind that it's publicized. And so it'll say, as we're going, so this is a quiz, it's all multiple choice. Whoever answers the fastest and also correctly gets more points. And it keeps track of the score as we go. And so it'll say, Michelle answered the fastest. So your name will show up here and there as we go. There are, I think, 30 questions of trivia for this. And so we'll see how long it takes us to get through, but I want to see this is my formative assessment to see how much everybody knows. So I'll wait for a little bit longer to see if anybody else has questions. And Melissa, if there's something in the chat that I'm not able to see that is a question I need to answer, make sure, let me know. Okay, so we have 18 participants. I'll wait for another maybe 10 seconds if anyone else wants to join, and then we'll get started. And I don't know if you guys can hear that fun. It's the music they play every time. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Phi U trivia questions. On what date was Phi U founded? So click or choose the option that you think is correct. It'll give us 20 seconds to answer. If everybody answers before that, it'll shorten the time, but we have 20 seconds. So February 10th, 1909 is the date that Phi U was founded. And
Jennifer,
Jan,
on my screen, I didn't actually see options.
Same with me. I never saw anything.
Okay, so did you see when you're playing on are you using like a tablet or smartphone, or how are you doing that for?
I'm
You
on
just-
the laptop and I saw different shapes.
Okay. And so when you see the shapes, does it say the words, the word options? It just gives you the shapes? Okay. Can you see it on the shared screen, like on my side, what the answer options are?
Maybe I had it minimized.
Okay, so I think that's the key to it, is that the question and answer options are on the screen.
Gotcha.
And then you have to choose the one that corresponds to that. So
Okay.
that's a really good question. Okay, so we'll practice that again. I'll pay a little bit more attention on this next one to kind of help prepare you for that.
It's your error. I've never done it.
No, that's so great. Please ask all kinds of questions like that as they come, because if you have a question, I'm sure lots of other people do too. That's how it always works out. So, okay. So question 2, how many years young is Phi U this year? So turning on its birthday this year. So the answer options are here. 99 is the red triangle, 40 is a yellow circle, 112 is a blue square or diamond, 129 is a green square. Ooh, nice. Janice again. Oh, Sheil went up to the top. So this is one of the things, if you've never used Kahoot before, if you're in education doing any kind of presentations in the community, this is free to set up an account and create your own quizzes. And it's a fun interactive activity. So I like to use it a lot. And it has a purple background. So okay, question 3. Where was Phi U founded?
No.
University of Minnesota. That is correct. And I want to ask you at this point, is it helpful if I read the answer options or if I'm quiet and don't say anything? Because I know for me, I would be like, nobody make any sound, but I'll want to do what works best for everyone. I'll do it the same way again, and I'll just read the question and let you read the answer options yourselves. Okay. Oh, and when there's a fire, that means, what's that?
It's supposed to be shell, like Michelle.
Oh, Shell.
And it auto-corrected.
Isn't that so helpful? Well, Shell, you have the highest answer streak of 3, so good job. Okay, question 4. What was the original name of Phi Upsilon Omicron? The Home Economics Club. We'll talk more about that coming up. And there we go, Kyle. Okay. In what year was the name Phi Upsilon Omicron adopted? Here we go, 1911. And again, you can guess, we'll be talking more about a lot of these things as we go. And there's Melissa with a streak of 4 correct answers in a row. What are the Phi U colors? Here we go, white, purple, and yellow. All right. I mean, Melissa, there's probably a lot of pressure on you that you better get all of these right.
I really like it like it's really bad. You know, get the
That's good I'm not playing. Shoo. Okay. What does the color white symbolize? And this is, you know, thinking about induction ceremony and what it says in that information. White symbolizes a lot of things depending on who you ask or what you look for. So Phi U symbolizes honor and integrity. All right, here we go for the next one. What does the color yellow symbolize? According to Phi U. Okay, light. Yay. Okay, 4 players have reached answer streak 3. Good job, 4 players. Okay, what does the color purple symbolize in Phi U? There we go, faithfulness. It is a close race. Okay, what does the Phi U pin with the crest symbolize? If you just did an initiation recently, you might remember this. Or if you have the script memorized. Ooh, this one's a hard one. The outward expression of our honor society and purpose. That was a really hard one. What does the violet symbolize? You know it's not red. Virtues of faithfulness and truthfulness. Okay.
For the record, I think I'll exclude myself from these five, but it is fun to play.
What do the ribbons used during initiation symbolize? Not red or blue. Okay, Phi U colors. What phrase do the Greek letters of Phi Upsilon Omicron represent? I'm sorry, I did not try to pronounce those. The light of the home. That is right. Anne has a streak with 6 correct answers in a row. Yay, Anne. Okay, how many founding members were in the original Phi U chapter? This is according to the Phi U history document. 22, and I'll mention this while I'm thinking about it. There is a script for a Founders Day ceremony. For those of you who might not know that that exists, and that one lists 23 members. So I was saying it depends on, I know, I was like, wait, I thought it was 22, but that one has 23. So there you go. We'll talk about that more coming up. Okay, Phi Upsilon Omicron is a collegiate-focused honor society nurturing leaders to continue the legacy of, this is our niche statement. There we go, Family and Consumer Sciences. Okay, what are the symbols on the Phi U crest? I'm interested to see how many people know this one. I have a, wait. So I have a Phi U crest that's a wooden ornament that I got a few years ago, hanging on my tree all season, and I didn't know this one either. Okay. Melissa, highest answer streak of 6. And she did mention, if you didn't hear that, because there will be prizes for the winners, we'll take the top 3 below Melissa, which she nicely mentioned that. So
Just didn't want everyone.
oh, how many meetings per year is an alumni chapter required to hold to be considered active? I forgot the word chapter. So this is 4, and one of them should be a Founders Day celebration. So if you're doing this as part of your chapter, I saw some of the Gamma alumni members here. This counts as one of your chapter activities. Where is the Phi U National Office located? Cindy, you better get this one right.
I got it right. I didn't put the answers on about number 7. But joined in now.
You get this one. Hey, nice.
All right.
There we go. What is the name of Phi U's publication? See my creativity of trying to make up fake answers. And it is the candle. I mean, the FCS scoop, come on. I'm glad it's not named that. How often is the candle published? So we have the spring and fall issues of the candle twice a year. All right, Shell just hit answer streak 4. Where is the 2022 Conclave located? I know we've got a few people here tonight that should know the answer to this. Columbus, Ohio. We'll talk more about Conclave soon too. Okay. Where was the 2014 Conclave located? Going back more toward history. You know anything about me? That might be a clue to why I included this question. Boise, Idaho. Yay. Michelle has a streak with 6 correct answers in a row. And I noticed the last time there were 5 more that did also. Okay, Phi U is divided into how many regions? And it is 4, and we used to have districts instead of regions, and was it 9 districts? And then we, not too in the too distant past, narrowed it down to 4 regions. So go. We're getting close. When is the due date for scholarships, fellowships, and awards? March 1st, and that's one that has been extended. It's typically historically been February 1st, but this time, for the first time, it's March 1st. And we have the recording for the webinar, the last chapter chat, the first chapter chat on our Phi U YouTube channel. Okay, this is getting close. 25. What is the password for the scholarship fellowship award applications?
The most asked.
That is also mentioned in that video. SFA 2021. And another password clue for those of you who might not remember what the password is to get into the login section of the website. Melissa has a nice video that she's posted, very helpful to talk about the resources. And she mentions the passwords in that. It's posted right next to that login section. So, and it, you know, you can always email her and ask, but I was like, well, that was a good way to make it easy for us. So SFA 2021. When is the due date for professional projects? And the next one's coming up. So unless I got this completely wrong, it's typically April 1st. Last year, we extended it to May 1st in the setting of, you know, everything being up in the air for COVID, but I believe it's back to April 1st for this year. So, and there's also a video on the website about professional projects. Okay, 27. We're almost to the end. In what year was the beta chapter installed? So we know 1909 is alpha chapter. So 1914. We'll look at that again in the history document. 28. How many chapters are currently active in Phi U? We have 71, and that is one of those things on the main page of the website. Okay, the last two questions. How much was awarded in 20 to 21 for scholarships, fellowships, and awards? $95,950. That's another one of those statistics on our web page. Okay, last question. Phi U national initiation fees are $60, and that's just the fee for national. Your chapter might have additional ones on top of that, but okay, so we're going to see Anne, Lydia R, and we know who this one's going to be. Melissa. And what we'll do, let's see. So Janice is the runner-up. So Lydia R, Anne, and Janice, if you three would make sure to put a mail, you can send a private message to Melissa in the chat, but send her your mailing address so that she can send you your prizes. And I don't know if you have anything to show Melissa as far as some of the swag we have, but I'm so glad you guys were willing to play, enjoy this little quiz with me. So I'm gonna stop sharing, but so Melissa's got some of the prizes that she'll be sending to you. So, and I think if you did not win, but you still want some of the prizes, you can order those from the website. So,
Absolutely.
okay, so let me go back to, oh, let me stop my obnoxious Kahoot quiz first.
So Jennifer, one Kahoot
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Can the participants change their answer if they click one? Are you locked in?
I think you're locked in, and it goes based on how fast you do it and if you're right or wrong. So once you choose the answer, it's there.
Okay, just wondering about that. Never played that before. It's neat.
There are a
Jennifer,
lot
I
of
wanted
different.
to introduce Lydia Rubio, one of your winners. She's our initiation chair, and you can tell she knows all about Phi U because she's been working on that script.
Nice, exactly. Good job, Lydia. Okay,
Thank
let
you.
me.
Put in that private message. It pays off to read the initiation script over and over and over many, many times.
Exactly.
I didn't know how many members were in the founding chapter. That was good news for today.
I'm glad that was helpful. Okay, hold on. I know I was thinking, I remember I just barely talked about this, and what was the answer? Okay, share screen. We go back to my presentation. So can everyone see the presentation back again? Okay. So this will, the things we talked about in the trivia are kind of, you know, keys to what we're going to be talking about today. So just as a recap, we know Family and Consumer Sciences provides knowledge and skills to individuals and families to promote their well-being at home and in communities. And so some of the disciplines that would be included, and that would be some of the different majors and minors. And this is defined by the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences. We have human development, personal and family finance, housing and interior design, food science, nutrition and wellness, textiles and apparel, consumer issues. We could keep going, but so some of the chapters may have one discipline, some of them may have a good variety. So while I'm thinking of this, there is a Phi U history document, and I've converted it to a Google Doc. And so what I'll mention, Melissa has the link to that. She's going to share it with you. Some of you may have access to the one that goes through 1909, but this has been updated to the current today. So I have some things highlighted in this current version. And so I'll go through and delete those. So you'll see me looking over maybe through some of the presentation to make sure I'm saying the right facts. But so a lot of the information that's coming here in this presentation, you can also read in this Phi U history document, which I love. It's really gives us a lot of good details. So the Morrill Act of 1862 is really important because it established land grant universities. And with that came a lot of universities that had home economics courses or programs. And so by 1899, Ellen H. Richards, who was considered the founder of home economics, had started doing these Lake Placid conferences. And she talked about different issues and challenges relating to home economics. So that kind of set the stage in February 1909 at the University of Minnesota. We have this home economics department, part of the College of Agriculture. So it's one of those land grant universities. And there was a course titled The Family, a class about home economics. And there were 22 students taking that class. I don't know if that was the total class, but they're the ones who were the most interested in wanting to learn more. So Mrs. Fanny Kimber Boutel, it was the instructor for that course. And these students decided, okay, we want to form a group where we can study home economics, promote social life among college girls, and suggest improvements in the curriculum. So that was their goals. And as you can imagine, and thinking back to our roots, Phi U was founded among female. So all of those 22 initial initiates were female. The first meeting was held February 10th of 1909. And some of the facts about the first chapter, the initiation fee was 50 cents. So we saw that now it's $60. It's just changed a little bit over time. In 1910, they raised it to $2 and plus dues of 50 cents per semester. Some of their early events, if you know any of your chapter's early events, maybe you can kind of compare, but they had prominent speakers on women's rights. And just as a reminder, or to put this into context, the 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote was not adopted till 1920. So they were talking about these kinds of current issues and issues of the family. They had candy sales, waffle suppers for fundraisers, a vaudeville performance, a dinner dance, and a 3-day house party at Lake Minnetonka. I mean, I think that would be pretty fun. I know the Beta Row chapters never had a lake party for 3 days, but maybe that will give us some ideas. In April of 1910, still the Home Economics Club at this point, they rented a clubhouse, and it was open to individuals who are not just members of the Home Economics Club, but whoever rented it. It was $22 a month for rent for room and board. They also had their meetings there, but one of their goals for this clubhouse, and it was called The House, it provided experience in household management for the renters, but it was also a home away from home for college women who had difficulty securing 3 good meals a day. So they were starting, even this home for the clubhouse was meant for service. So our service roots go back really far. In the fall of 1910, another group on that campus, University of Minnesota, wants to form a club for all home economics majors and call it the Home Economics Club. So at this point, we had some decisions to make, so the gloves are out. So the members of the original Home Economics Club decided, let's adopt a Greek name. They met with the professor of Greek on the campus, and they told him about their goals. They told him about everything. And so he suggested the Greek phrase that meant the light of the home because it reflected the purposes. So that's where Phi Upsilon Omicron comes from. At that point, they also decided they wanted to make membership dependent on scholarship. So we have scholarship and service embedded in, the foundations of Phi U. So May 1911 is when the name Phi Upsilon Omicron was adopted during a chapter meeting. So some of the traditions and legacies that we'll see, and so these are mentioned in this history document as well. The initiation ceremony is one of our traditions and legacies. It was developed in 1911, and we have 3 different versions available. It's continually updated from 1911 to the current revision. Some use initiation robes, which you'll see here. And this is more of the traditional updated ceremony. The Phi U pin is another one of our traditions and legacies. And so we have the ring, which symbolizes the family circle. So, Anne, this may sound familiar to you. And those of you who are just, doing initiation, the candle with a diamond symbolizes the light of the home. We have the Greek letters superimposed over the candle. So we see a candle there inside the ring. They were worn for the first time in November 1909. And they changed in 1911 with the change of the name. It was a poor design, so it's kind of made its way from here, which this was a diamond and it's made out of gold. We have the guard there that represented which chapter it was. And then this is what the current version looks like. And so I don't know if I can see this, but so here's an example of one of the original pins. And this is not helpful because I can't see me. Hold on. Yeah, okay. So here is an example of one, and I'll try to show you, but on the back, I think this is really cool. So the name, and this is not too clear, but the name of the member was engraved on the back. So this one says, oh my goodness, Pauline Weaver. It also says what year. So this one's from 1928. And I have another one that is from the Alpha chapter, and this one's from 1916. And so one of the maybe traditions or legacies with our pin is that it should stay with a Phi U member. So when a Phi U member passes away, a lot of times the family may donate it back to the organization. One thing I think is interesting, I found this picture on eBay because this one was for sale at the time. So it doesn't always happen that way, but we do have some of the original Alpha chapter pins for sale. If that's something you're interested in, you can contact Melissa and she can tell you more about. They've been appraised. They are available for purchase, and that's how I got both of the pins that I have. So, but when we initiate members, they get pins today. So that tradition has continued. I think this is something very noteworthy. The fall 2013 issue of the candle, there's an article that talks all about the pins, and I think that was by Susan Rickards, and it was that was one of my favorite articles that I've ever read in the candle. So I wanted to make sure to mention that that you can go back and search that with your digital subscription. So something to look forward to that I was talking about the past, moving toward the future, we're looking at options for new Phi U jewelry. So be on the lookout for a survey that's going to be coming out. Melissa will be sending that soon, but this is some of the options we're considering, and not featured here would be some of the men's options like tie tacks or pins, but just as something to keep your eyes open for. We're kind of wondering how much people would be willing to pay, which ones you like, so I wanted to include that here as well. Some of our other traditions and legacies, which we talked about before, the violet, which represents faithfulness and truth. It's one of the earliest meadow and woodland blooms, so February. Yellow symbolizes light, white, honor and integrity. Purple is faithfulness. We saw those in our Kahoot quiz. Some of the other symbols we have our bookmark, the crest, the Phi U song, the creed, the purposes. We have our mission, our niche statement. We have the candle, conclave, and I'll talk about a lot of these in a little bit more detail. But the Phi U poster, some of you may have. This was created by Jeanette Rowe, who was a National Council member. I can't remember exactly what her role was on National Council, but she designed this poster of the candle. And so if you ever wondered what she looks like, there you go. She's a Beta Rho member, which is why I have a picture of her. So this comes from that Phi U history document. We've got the pin, the bookmark, and then the crest. So this was one of those that I said, I wonder how many people will know this. So we've got the castle, the pelican, and the horn of plenty. So there you go, featured there. And the history document tells a lot more about what each of those represent, which I think is really interesting. We've got our Phi U song. So if you go on to the Phi U website under traditions, the words are listed here. And there's also a recording. So you can play that at any of your meetings. If there aren't any individuals who are willing to sing. I know at some of the conclaves, we practiced that, and it's been, something that was a goal. So I remember that from a conclave, the words to the Phi U song. There are some other songs listed on the website as well. We've got the candle. So in 1911, some of the founding members started to leave the nest. And as a way to keep everyone connected, they decided in 1913 to create a round robin letter that would help them keep in touch with alumni members. So that's kind of the early version of the candle, but they decided in November 1915 to publish the first issue of the candle. And it was a report of the 1915 conclave. It was 76 pages long. I think ours is 24 now. So if you can imagine the difference between that. Some of the articles were titled "Our Girls in the Field," "Who's Who in Home Economics." And then I don't know if you can see, it's cut off on my screen, but until November of 1918, every issue listed the complete membership for a directory for all the members in Phi U. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And there is an image of our most current issue of the candle, which we can see now as a hard copy, but also we have our electronic copy. So thinking about conclave, if we go to Phi U's history document, you will see a long list of all of the different Phi U conclave sites. And actually what I'm going to do is switch over to that because I think it's really interesting to share. So let me share the correct screen.
And Jennifer, I should also mention, since we're speaking about Conclave, that if your chapter is interested in hosting Conclave 2024, we would love to speak with you.
Yes, get a hold of us. So let's see. Can you see my information for Phi U's Founders Day? I don't know if I selected the right one. Okay. Now I'm going to move us over to a different screen. So I think this is really interesting, and I'm not going to take time to read all of them, but now you have access to this. So starting in 1915, it was at a university farm in University of Minnesota, St. Paul. You can see they held it in June. Then it's been, every 2 years. We kind of follow that same tradition. But if you want a list of all of these, I think one of my favorite things about Conclave is hearing some of the Conclave veterans, I'll call us, not us, I don't want to include myself in that, but it's like, remember back in when we went to San Diego, or remember when we did this, or whoever hosted. And it's so fun to hear those memories being shared back and forth. Cindy Jones, I always remember stories from her that she shares about different conclaves. And so you can see them all listed here, I hear people talking about Buffalo, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Menominee. There we go, at Bowling Green in 2000.
That's why I can think about it.
Yes. We've got our Indiana folks, Nebraska. This is the first one I attended in 2006. We've got Minneapolis, Savannah, Lexington, Boise. I had to include that one on our trivia quiz. 2016, Oklahoma City, Natick, Massachusetts, and then a message about our Conclave 2020 push to 2022. And so if I go back then to my presentation, we'll see I took this from the website, but it is rescheduled for fall 2022 in Columbus, Ohio, hosted by the Gamma Alumni Chapter. And I know we have several representatives here tonight from Gamma Alumni Chapter. They've been working so hard to prepare. So I wanted to make sure to mention that and talk about the history from 1915 until now. Here's one from Boise, 2014. Don't mind me. I have a lot of pictures of those. So professional projects is a long part of our history. So going back to 1915, it talks in the history document about Baby Week. So the Alpha chapter participated in baby welfare work in the area of St. Paul. There was a National Professional Development Fund that was established that took part of those national dues and set it aside for national professional projects. And then we still continue our national professional projects at Conclave every year. Each chapter still had their own projects that they did. And so I think this is interesting. I'll refer you back again to the professional project or the history document. I was reading it as I was talking. It starts in 1976 of the winners of the National Plaque Award for the chapter professional projects. And so I think that's really cool to go back and see the chapter who won and what they did for all of these different projects. And so it has been updated to the current one with 2020 and Beta Upsilon chapter. So I think that's really cool that we have that history documented. Other information that I think is interesting and noteworthy to check out in this history document. And at this point, I'm just going to switch over again to that. So this is the list that I was talking about for professional projects. And you should be able to see my history document. So if not, please let me know. And I am looking over to the side again. I apologize for that. So we've got the founders of the Home Economics Club. So the initial honorary members. Here's a list of all the national presidents that we've had. And so for those of you who have received scholarships, fellowships, and awards, as you're reading through this list, you might recognize some of the names that are there, which I thought was really interesting as I started looking through these lists. And we've also got a list for the Educational Foundation chairs and secretaries back starting 1970. We see advisor award recipients, which I think is really cool that that's mentioned for all of those from 1988. And we see, there we go, 2020, Karen Goebel, and 2019, Amy Richards. We just recognized those two at our recognition event that we had in October. And then we've got the roster of chapters, which can also be found in the candle and on the website. And I believe that's the end of the document. So I wanted to make sure to point out all of these historical, this historical information that we have access to. Let me stop sharing and go back to my presentation. And these are kind of fun if you want to create your own trivia to use at chapter meetings, if you want to use that for your own Founders Day celebrations. There are a lot of ways that those can be used. So looking a little bit, this goes back to what we kind of looked at, but Alpha chapter started in 1909. We see it went from University of Minnesota to North Dakota State in 1914, Ohio State, now the Ohio State, Wyoming, Montana, University of Idaho, Utah, South Dakota, and then I kind of skipped to Beta Rho 1972. And then our most recent chapter that was installed, Gamma Omicron, at Morgan State University. And I recognize some of the people who are joining us tonight are here from Gamma Omicron, so that's very exciting. We currently have 100,000 members and 71 chapters. We talked about this. This is a picture from when Dr. Corrine Carr, her initiative was to visit every single chapter during her 2-year presidency. And so this was when she came to visit the Beta Rho chapter, and that was a very exciting event. So I'm going to ask this question. I have some pictures to share, but if anyone has ideas or thoughts about activities that you do for Founders Day traditions and activities, feel free to share those in the chat, or we'll open up the floor to see if anyone wants to mention some of those when we're done. But I asked for pictures of traditions. These were back from 2014, so I'm just going to flip through and share some of the ones that I thought were fun. So if anybody knows, the chapter name is here, but if anybody knows what university or, you know, some kind of identifying place for location, feel free to shout it out if you want to. I know there's a top member, at least one here. This is from one of their Founders Day celebrations. And so I thought this was a cool picture because they are doing their Dr. Barnhart's signature dollars. You can see there's one right there folded into a heart, which I thought was cool for a Founders Day activity. So that's one that was done in the past for the TA chapter. And I'm just going to go through these. There's Gamma Alumni chapter, and we see Norma right here. This was from their, and I believe this may still be a tradition, but I've heard about the brunch, and you can see it's on their little handout right there on the table. But I thought that was a cool tradition from the Gamma Alumni chapter for Founders Day. The rest of these, I don't know if they're specific to Founders Day, but a lot of them were similar. So here's Alpha chapter doing a bake sale. There's, this one didn't say which chapter it was from, but there's a Phi U picnic as one of the activities that they did. This one, I apologize, it's a little bit blurry, but I thought it was a cool angle, a Beta Delta at an initiation, and it looked like in a really cool location. There's a Beta Epsilon, one of their, this I believe was also for an initiation, but I liked their sign, it's very colorful. And there's Beta Rho doing a healthy cooking seminar, I guess, for the community. Beta Upsilon making something with tomatoes. Here's Beta Xi, and I think this was their professional project. There's Gamma Lambda doing chords. I liked seeing all the different places where meetings were held. Here's Beta Zeta. Everybody's listening very carefully to that speaker. I think this was an initiation, but I don't remember for sure. Here's Theta chapter. They're putting together food packages as a service project. And Xi made blankets. And here's Zeta. This one is an alumni panel that's a really popular event that they do. I thought that was cool to show the participants there. If anyone has mentionable Founders Day traditions, this would be a time. And again, feel free to share those in the chat as well. When I asked for people's feedback, what's your favorite tradition? A lot of people mentioned Founders Day activities, and so I thought that was pretty cool. Some of the new things that we're doing, this relates to our Founders Day. We have our Phi U social media pages. And so I wanted to just show, this is, and Melissa, you can help if I'm wrong about this, but let me share my screen again. The Phi U Facebook page, if you search back through the history, you should be able to see these. Okay, I think it's this one. Nope, that's not the one I want. Hold on. I have too many options of screens that are available. I'm just trying to get to Facebook. Did you build that? My son is here to say hello. I don't know if you can see him. Okay. Sorry, I'm having challenges figuring out my Facebook. Well, let me finish going through this because I want to show you there's some cool old pictures, and maybe while Melissa's talking, I can figure out my Zoom controls. So let me go back to this one. So hold please on that thought, but we do have different social media pages, which they did not have for the founders of Phi U. So this is something that we can do to celebrate Phi U Founders Day. We have a Facebook profile picture that you can use, and Melissa has shown us an option, what she did. She looks really nice in that picture. And so Melissa, do you want to share your screen, or what would be the best option for?
Let me do that video.
Let me give you permission. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
And then you should be able to share yours now.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to let me, if I can minimize it. Can I open a file?
Yes, and then you can choose that file.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay. Can everyone see the video?
That's right.
Can you see Brad?
I can see your screen that has your files.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure that it's going to work for me then.
So you would have to stop share and then share again and choose the.
Yeah, it's not letting me minimize.
And did you send this video out recently as part of an email? Or?
I didn't send the video,
Okay.
but it's pretty easy to follow. So if you're on Facebook, you just click on your profile picture, and then you can select add frame. And then in the search bar, type in Phi U Founders Day frame, and it should pull up. And as Jennifer showed you, it kind of says hashtag Phi U Founders Day. And then it'll have a circle ring around with our emblem, and that can go around your lovely picture. And you can celebrate our Founders Day and social media and promote the organization. That would be wonderful.
Okay, so I'm excited. I'm going to figure out how to use it and put it on mine. So that's an option for us to celebrate Founders Day in addition to joining now. We've also got, let's see, something else I want to share is a new initiative that we're doing. So I'm going to let Diana Watson-Mail talk about this. She's our National Advisor Counselor. So Diana, if you want to share your screen, you should be able to. And I will stop sharing just so you can talk. So we'll turn the time over to Diana. And you're muted, Diana.
I forgot. Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you, Jennifer, for all the great information. It makes us more excited about Phi U and about telling our stories. And that's really what this is all about. This is was posted in an article in the leadership in the leadership service and recognition article that was in the last candle. And it's just a different way to get all of our chapters more involved and to share and to be recognized. I just felt this summer that we just need to recognize more chapters and maybe at an easy way. And so what this is posted under in a couple areas. We have it in the login section as sort of a jot form to be completed if your chapter wants to enter into and have a video about a service or a leadership activity be posted in the social media areas for Phi U. And we just felt that it's just to be a good initiative to promote leadership and service. So think about your chapter or any other chapters that you see advisors that were not here today, that maybe you've done a project, or maybe it was a meeting like some of the pictures that Jennifer has shared with us. And maybe just video with your camera, with your phone, and submit that. It's a very easy form to fill out. It just has more or less information about your chapter and who submitted it. Just a quick little few sentences about what your project was. And it might just be a good idea that your chapter does in maybe contacting students with all the Zoom activities going on. It doesn't have to be, it could be service. Just some activity. Well, what we want you is to tell your story. That's Jennifer's theme, is tell your story. So let's hear about your stories and try to get chapters to post and to turn in this submission form their little video, and most likely it will be recognized and it'll be posted in the social media areas. And I will recognize those individuals. You will get something from me, and also they will be listed. All those that are posted on the Facebook and on the media areas, they will be listed in the next candle. So just again, another recognition for chapters. That's an easy recognition, and we want to hear what you're doing. A good way to share. So does that sort of explain it, Jennifer? Okay.
Yes, we want to hear from collegiate and alumni chapters. What are you doing to stay active? So thank you, Diana. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So the last thing, I finally figured out how to get to my Facebook page, because I wanted to show you just some of the things you can search for on the Phi U Facebook, and I believe I don't know if they're Instagram too, but anyway, you can kind of see my little thumbnails here, but here's one from the Alpha chapter from 1943. And it's one of the Throwback Thursday initiatives that was there. There's a picture of Ella Gertrude from 1937 with Omicron chapter. Here's all of the founding members. And so this one I thought was pretty interesting. So there's the original Home Economics Club. I don't know if there's 22. Doesn't look like 22. Anyway, there's one from Row chapter of 1947, Upsilon from 1953. This one doesn't give us as much from there. 1954. Oh, they went to Scotland. So I think these are really fun. This is just a collection I put together, and I saved those in my own Facebook collection, but you can see all of these, and some of them are from, who was Martha Mueller McGraw? This one's from August 30th of 2019. So you might have to search, but here she goes, the first elected president of the Alpha chapter. So, and then there's the picture of Ellen Swallow Richards. So I wanted to make sure to let everybody know that those resources were available. So I'm going to stop sharing. And that is, oh,
Instagram or Facebook, Jennifer, sorry, across the top, it should say photos. So if you wanted to save your time from scrolling, you could maybe just go to the photos option and look there if you wanted to particularly search for some of those older pictures.
that was a good suggestion. And what saved me time was help from Melissa to say, well, look at this one. So thank you, Melissa, for helping put all this together. But that is the end of what I wanted to present for today's presentation, our celebration about Founders Day, kind of a good mishmash of our history. Maybe if any of you will be having your own chapter celebrations to recognize Founders Day, you can incorporate some of these tools and resources into your own activities. And I encourage the collegiate and alumni chapters to work together. That's kind of one of the other goals, is that maybe this Founders Day celebration can be one that we all do together. So thank you so much for joining us. Melissa, do you have any other last announcements or messages? Or
No, I don't think so. Just be sure to check your email if you want to be added to our email. Make sure I have that and let us know. You can email me at national@phiu.org at any time, and we can add that to our national database and make sure we stay connected that way. We are doing a lot of campaign emails from MailChimp, so you might want to make sure they're not going to your spam folder, but that allows us to email to 4,000 people at the same time. So that's always nice to be able to do that. The candle is online as well as the hard copy. So you can enjoy that both ways. If you need the password, let me know. Those have been distributed, and we're excited to have this much participation tonight. And we appreciate everyone joining us to celebrate Phi U Founders Day. And thank you to Jennifer for a great program.
it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And make sure and make your submissions for the Phi U Spotlight.
Be the first one
Yes.
to get recognized. We're excited to see those. Thanks again. Enjoy your week.
Bye.
Melissa, we're